The most important tool a leader has is themselves and how they use themselves. And conscious use of self is most important. Still, there are three key aspects of conscious use of self that are most important if you want to elevate your leadership skills. I'm Dr. Mike Broom, CEO of the Center for Human Systems. I support leaders, organizations, teams, and executives to success. I'm available to be your leadership and team guru. Before we get into the three aspects of conscious use of self, let's talk about what is it we mean by just plain use of self. Use of self is simply how we manage our behavior, our thoughts, our emotions, and our beliefs. Typically, we use them automatically. We don't need to think about them. It's just stuff that we do. Like I just wave my hands automatically. I don't think about it. On the other hand, conscious use of self is managing my behavior, my emotions, my thoughts, and beliefs with conscious intention and deliberate thought. That leads us right up to our first key aspect of conscious use of self. That's intention and impact. The goal here is that our impact needs to be in sync with our intentions. However, on automatic, our intentions are based upon past experiences and simply habitual behavior. And that may or may not be useful to have the impact we want right now. My goal is to be deliberate about my intentions. So often we're just on automatic. When we're conscious, our goal is to be deliberate about our choice of intentions to create the impact that we want. Then it's not difficult to notice if the impact we have is actually in sync with what our intention was, and if it was slightly off kilter, or more than slightly, we can choose a different behavior, a different thought, a different emotion, a different belief that will get us to the impact that we truly want. Carl was a new leader that desperately wanted to make an impact and a great impression by increasing productivity. He pushed his employees harder and harder and harder until he began to notice that sick leave was going up, turnover had gone up, and then I got a call. His impact was not in sync with his intention. In fact, it was exactly the opposite. His intention was to increase productivity. The impact he made was to actually decrease it. Carl's boss gave me a call to see if I could coach him a bit. Carl and I spent some time together in some intensive coaching. From there, Carl and his team developed a set of agreements to optimize productivity and optimize team engagement and be sure he could maintain a healthy team. He worked out okay. The second key aspect of conscious use of self is connection. Connection has to do with the quality of relationships we have with those whose followership is important to us, whose support is important to us. On automatic, we often take our relationships for granted, and they can deteriorate without us noticing them, and that will lead to serious problems for you as a leader. If we are conscious about our connections, we are paying attention to the quality of connection whose support is important to us. I was asked to coach Clint. Clint was a senior leader whose boss figured that he had lost touch with his team. Clint's story was that he had an open door policy and that his people were welcome to spend time with him. His people, however, when I interviewed them, said that Clint was always busy with something else if they walked into his office for a conversation, and they never felt that they really had his full attention. Clint was on automatic about how he was dealing with the connection he had with his followers. In a meeting with his team, Clint asked what the problem was. His team gave him the feedback that anytime they visited with him, he was too busy on the phone, typing, or doing something other than paying attention to them and what their issues were. He agreed to stop doing that. He was smart enough, though, to say, if you come into my office and I start doing that again, please just kind of knock on my desk, get my attention so that I can be reminded that I need to give you my full attention. I am willing to do that, and I will. He was able to do that pretty well and succeeded. The third key aspect of conscious use of self from leaders is ego management. Ego is all about how we manage our sense of identity and self-esteem needs. We all have an ego. We all have egos. At times our egos are strong, at times our egos are weak. Regardless, as a leader, we need to manage them. On automatic, particularly when we're feeling a bit insecure, our ego needs tend to drive us in ways that may or may not get us to the results that we want with our teams. Hence, the need for conscious management of our ego needs, where we are clear about our intentions, we are clear about our need for strong connections with our followers and supporters, so that our ego's needs do not derail those. It takes practice, but it works. I spent some time working with Jennifer. Jennifer was the general manager of a local TV station. She had been hired to turn this TV station around. But Jennifer was really struggling. But Jennifer seemed to be spending most of her time posturing and acting as if she knew what she was doing, rather than really trying to get a handle on what the issues of the TV station were. Over lunch, I asked Jennifer what seemed to be the difficulty. She had this great track record of success. She said, Michael, I've never done anything like this before. These previous successes were all conducted by somebody else, not me. So here, I'm just trying to look good because I really am not sure what I should do. Jennifer and I agreed on weekly coaching sessions. The point of these sessions was to help Jennifer refocus herself on what she needed to do to have a success at this TV station. And from succeeding, she would wind up looking good. Her ego had been driving her to look good as a way to succeed rather than the other way around. That's it. The three key aspects of conscious use of self. Can you be sure that your impact is in sync with your intention? Probably need to take some time to slow down to think about that. 2, connection. Let's be sure that you are attending fully to the quality of connection that you are having with your followers and the people who support you need. They are key to your ability to influence them. And the third one is ego management. Our egos cannot be left at the door, so we need to manage them rather than be managed by them. In our next video, it's going to be about choice points, because we've been talking about changing our behavior, but changing behavior is not necessarily easy. The next video will look at the choice points we have in terms of changing our behavior. Managing our thoughts can help us change our behavior. How managing our emotions can help us manage our thoughts. And finally, we'll talk about the most powerful way, and that is to manage our beliefs that guide our thoughts, that drive our emotions, that drive our behavior. See you then.